My name's Jack, this is my waistcoat. Welcome to Sound Effects. Thank you all for coming. The lineup we've got tonight is exactly what I've dreamed of all those months ago. But if you don't know Sound Effects, I do it every month, and it's always different kind of music, different kind of speakers, but it's all about music and subcultures, because I'm a bit of a geek about music, and I always think, you know, even if it's hip hop, if it's death metal, if it's indie, if it's pop, if it's classical music, I always think, I'm always curious about the stories behind it, whether I listen to the music or not. So that's what I do. So last time I did Sound Effects, who was here? Who's at this one?
No.
Not here. Well, do you know what we need to do actually, just so we're all in the same room? So can you put your hands up if you've been here before? Okay. Can you put your hands up if you've never been to Sound Effects before? Alright, quite a few peoples. Well, you know what we do to make everyone know that they're in the right place, to make everyone feel like they're exactly where they need to be tonight. We're gonna do what we do every month, which is after 3. 1, 2, 3. Welcome. Not weird at all. Welcome, you're in the right place. So last time, at this event, we had Eva Lunny, who was a harpist. She was amazing. She brought a harp in and she talked about the harp, and she talked about making ambient music with the harp. And not only did she talk about her own personal journey and her inspirations, she talked about the history of the harp, which is fascinating. And I had loads of very basic questions about, like, what does that do? What does this do? What strings are those? And it was actually fucking fascinating to have a harp in the room. We also had Dara Markham and Chris Barling from the thrash metal band In Human Nature. And they sat here, and who was at this one? It was bonkers, wasn't it, really? It was formless.
Did you struggle getting the harp up the stairs?
That's what I wanted.
Oh, yeah. They do, yeah. Do you know what? She carried it up herself. She was like, I was like, do you want to help? She's like, no, I'm good. And she had it on her back. She walked up, and she came. She didn't even come in a taxi. You know, I think once you're a harpist, it's quite like it's a thing. Yeah. It's like, you know, like very delicate here, but fucking hench otherwise. Dara Markham, we talked about the realities of playing the DIY thrash punk band in 2024. It was hilarious. And Onodoro Townsend, can anyone remember what she talked about?
Criminology.
Criminology, yeah, in what ways?
Moral panic.
Exactly, moral panics around music. It was fascinating. She's a criminologist. You might have seen her on Amazon, on Sky, and she talked about moral panics around music. Whoa, that was weird. The satanic panic, as we are. That's weird. And she talked about the satanic panic with metal bands. She talked about drill music and how it's been demonized. She talked about people burning Beatles records once upon a time. All these things that link. There's a folk devil. Always a folk devil, someone to blame. It was fascinating. I always love having a criminologist here. And if you feel, who knows who that is? It's T.I., the rapper T.I. Come on, guys, we're a hip hop night. If you've got a talk in you, if you feel like you've got a talk in you, and we've got some legends on the bill tonight, but if you just love music like I do, then get in touch. The stage is yours, you know. If you've got an album you want to tell us about, some photos you want to share, whatever it is, this is yours. The stage is yours, but, you know, whatever this is, this planks are yours. Recommendations. So you might notice some paper and some pens on the tables. So if you feel like you want to give anyone a recommendation about anything within music, could be a favourite album, could be a song that not many people know, could be an artist that you don't think people know about, you can write it down and put it in a pot, and the pot at the end of the table at the back is full of random recommendations. So you can take one on the way out, and we've all recommended each other a song or an album that means a lot to us, or an artist. And I've learned some amazing things from this recommendation pot, because it could be anything. This is my recommendation for the night, which is Kofi Stone. Does anyone know Kofi Stone, the rapper?
Yep.
From Birmingham. So good, eh? So good. And he cut his teeth busking in Birmingham. If you've ever been to Birmingham, that whole strip in the city centre is full of buskers, and they're fucking shit hot. They're so good. He was one of those, and his album is so good as well. I'm a journalist, so as I said, I'm Jack. I'm a journalist, and if you don't know me already, I write about music and subcultures and other things. I visited Rockaway Park, so if you ever want to read something on Vice magazine about an alternative community that have squatted an old scrapyard and made it an art utopia for graffiti artists, for kind of travellers, for punks, I went to visit them and spent some time with them, and it's absolutely fascinating. So if you want to read that, it's on Vice magazine, on vice.com at the minute. These are like new age travellers and punks and hippies who have grown up and actually are hiding in plain sight, living their ideals on buses, on vans, in this scrapyard between Bristol, Bath and Glastonbury. Think about that for a trifecta of fucking chaos. It's good, so that's out there. Yeah, you know, I'm self-promoting now, but... Also, have you ever wondered what happens after we die? Have you ever thought about that? Well, I've thought about it a lot, and I wrote an article for The Quietus the other day, which was about near-death experiences and music. So sometimes when people die, when they clinically die and they get brought back to life, they get revived, they hear music on the other side, and they're moved to make music inspired by their experience of death. Absolutely fascinating. I spoke to musicians who'd gone on to make jazz music, gone on to make classical, gone on to make metal, to try and capture what they heard on the other side. And some of them had never played music before. They had sudden savant syndrome, and they came back and were like, I need to play classical piano. It's fucking fascinating. I also spoke to a spiritualist from the Brighton Spiritualist Centre, spent a day with her, legend. I also spoke to a neuroscientist to find out what's really going on. So if you fancy that, and if you're ever interested in what happens after we die, the answers are therein. Read the article, all shall be revealed. But basically, music is a big part of our lives, and maybe it's also a big part of our death, right? Which is pretty fucking fascinating. Oh yeah, invite your mates. If you like it tonight, tell your mates to come down. That's a photo of you in the future telling your mate about sound effects. So if you fancy it, if you enjoy it tonight, tell your mates to come down. Like, this is the night I've been building, and I do think that everyone who comes seems to enjoy it. So if you know people who might enjoy it, invite them along. So I also do a rundown of the news, things I've seen in the news, music news that I think are funny or interesting. This is how I start the night. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. Why did the London Marathon make the music news in the past few weeks? So this was in music magazines, it was in Mix Mag, it was in NME. Why was the London Marathon in the music news? Did anyone see this?
I haven't seen it, but is it because there are loads of people in the music industry running it?
No, but there probably were. No? Anybody? Because a dude ran it for 5 hours DJing the whole time. What a fucking legend. He DJed for 5 hours running with this little setup. He had a speaker in his backpack. Imagine that. Like, I'd be running next to him. Doesn't matter how fast he's going. He raised 11,000 quid for... His dad died of cancer 10 years before. How good is that? Give a round of applause. The idea of running a marathon freaks me out, but this guy with a fucking, you know, with a setup on him, amazing. What a guy. You would be running next to him, wouldn't you? Oh, well, it depends on what he's playing, but... What's this? Yeah, fucking poser, where's the vinyl? Yeah, you're right, fuck that guy. What's that?
Leaves.
Palms. What is it more generally?
Jungle.
What is it more generally than that?
Music.
Nature. Oh yeah. Yeah, I knew you're right. Yeah, nature has been recognised as an artist on Spotify and Apple Music. Isn't that mad? It's crazy. So basically, it was a campaign through Brian Eno and some other ecologists, and they said, let's try and recognise nature as an artist on some song. So Blackbird by the Beatles has got, you know, bird song, and that's nature. And so, get real? Really? Yeah? Yeah, right, that's right. And they're trying to credit nature as an artist so that the royalties go to environmentalist needs, environmentalist causes. It's amazing, really. I don't know if it's amazing or stupid, but it's something that happened. And so the musicians, you can choose to put on, like if you're Cosmo Sheldrake, for example, who does all of his stuff is in nature and birdsong, you can choose to go featuring nature and all the money goes to an environmentalist charity. It's quite good. So if like Ed Sheeran put featuring nature, if he had like a recording of birdsong, then it'd go to this charity they're talking about.
Who's getting the cut?
What? The cut?
Yeah, someone must be.
I know what you mean. I was thinking this. It's too glib to be as good as it sounds. I was thinking the same thing. Couldn't tell if I hated it or liked it. But it is interesting. But if you're a field recordist, you're fucked, basically, because no, you can't go like me featuring nature. It's like all you're doing is recording nature. But anyway, that's the thing that happened. Who's that? No. Hetfield. James Hetfield. Exactly. James Hetfield. Why did he make the news, the music news, in the past week or so? Nah, we've moved on. So he got a tattoo with Lemmy's ashes in the tattoo. Fucking hell, how crazy is that? So you get someone's ashes in your body. It's absolutely bonkers. But obviously this is the way my mind works. As an investigative journalist, I thought, what else have people done with their ashes, famous musicians? So I'm going to show you. So I found the website, Scattered Ashes of Rock and Roll Musicians Around the World. Like, fucking hell. Someone set up a whole website to find out where the ashes of all these rock and rollers have gone. Kurt Cobain, scattered on the Wishkah River. We've got George Harrison, scattered in several rivers in India. And I got to this and I was like, John Denver, scattered over the Rocky Mountains. I thought, what kind of loser would look at this whole website of where the rock and roll celebrities have died? I realised I was that loser. I spent about an hour on it going, where's his ashes? So basically I spent a long time on this and now got deeper. We all remember this maybe from a few sound effects ago. Someone threw their mother's ashes on stage with Pink. What a transgression that is. And then I know Dan, I know you're a comic fan, right? You're a comic art fan. Have you ever heard of this? Mark Grunwald got his ashes baked into a Captain America comic, the Captain America artist. Amazing what you can do with your ashes. The guy who invented Frisbee got his ashes made into a Frisbee. Guy who invented a Pringles tube got it buried in a Pringles tube. I mean, it looks like I'm making it up, it's true. The guy who invented who designed the Pringles.
He's buried in the Pringle bag.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. And then, this is the weirdest one. You can get a bust of your head, which is bizarre. You got Barack Obama, or a figurine. A figurine is odd. And now we're talking about, this is where it gets a bit weird, more to the tattoo, people drinking ashes in a tea. And then, I'm going to bring it back, hold on, I'm going to bring it back. Who else has ingested ashes? Well, it's only the Outlaws who smoked Tupac's ashes. Have you ever heard of this? The Outlaws, his group smoked his ashes with a joint, which is absolutely fucking absurd, which led to maybe the most important cultural artifact of our modern times, which is the film How High, featuring Redman and Method Man. Has anyone seen that? Absolutely shit or good? Terrible.
Terribly good.
Terribly good. That's what we're going for. Thank you. Anyway, that's what I've seen in the news, and I very cleverly brought it back to hip hop at the end, as you saw. So, it brings me great pleasure to bring on our first speaker of the night, and I think I tried to be very thoughtful with the curation of the types of speakers we have, covering hip hop culture from different angles, right? Because hip hop for me is as much art as it is music, as it is photography, as it is dancing, as it is everything, fashion, it's everything. It's equal parts everything, and that's what makes it what it is. And I've loved Dan's work for a long time. I went to his exhibition down the beach. I thought that was fucking fantastic. And then we went for a falafel together, where a lot of amazing ideas get cooked up over a falafel, I'm sure. And then we talked about this. This has been a long time in the making, so I'm so glad that we can make it work, man. So, can you please put your hands together for Mr. Dan Lish?